a lot of money, but it has no value.
If you want to go buy coffee, guys.
Racism against white people, occupation, and political sanctions.
I'm now going to have a reinforcement from Harare to come and take more farms.
Zimbabwe, located in southern Africa, has plains, rivers, waterfalls, and fertile lands for agriculture. Welcome to Channel the Truth.
In Zimbabwe, you can see a Zimbabwean citizen carrying a bag full of money to be able to buy bread for his home.
During President Robert Mugabe's 37-year rule, Zimbabwe experienced a severe economic decline and faced a crippling financial crisis. However, to fully understand the complete reason for this collapse, we must consider the multiple factors that contributed to this crisis.
One of the main reasons for the collapse of Zimbabwe's economy was the land reform policy implemented at the beginning of the new millennium. In 2000, the government introduced a land redistribution policy called fast-track land reform, which resulted in the seizure of agricultural land from white farmers and its distribution to black citizens. This policy was implemented rapidly and haphazardly, leading to the destruction of agricultural productivity and a decline in food production.
But isn't Zimbabwe a country in southern Africa? How did white people come to Zimbabwe and own agricultural land and farms?
Zimbabwe's history includes a long presence of white people in the country. In the Middle Ages and early modern periods, European kingdoms and settlements, including Portuguese, Dutch, and British settlements, were established in the region.
In the 19th century, Britain colonized South Africa, and Zimbabwe became part of British colonialism. The British settlement in Zimbabwe began under the name Southern Rhodesia in 1890. During this period, many Europeans migrated to the country in search of economic, trade, and agricultural opportunities.
Southern Rhodesia evolved into a self-governing state in 1923, ruled by white settlers. However, in 1965, Southern Rhodesia declared independence from British rule and was renamed Zimbabwe. This led to international sanctions being imposed on the country and its isolation from the international community.
What is the crime? Is it because we took back our rights that were taken by the occupation?
Zimbabwe was affected by international sanctions and isolation imposed by Western countries due to human rights violations and electoral fraud. Foreign investments were severely affected, financial liquidity declined, and confidence in the economy deteriorated.
In 2009, the Zimbabwean government was forced to abandon its local currency and adopt the US dollar and other currencies as a means of exchange.
But what were these sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe?
During the period of Southern Rhodesia's independence and its transformation into Zimbabwe, many countries imposed international sanctions on the country due to the government's policies and human rights violations. These sanctions included trade embargo, a complete ban on trade with Zimbabwe, including commodities, petroleum products, and weapons. Commercial transactions, exports, and imports were restricted, negatively impacting the Zimbabwean economy.
What made Britain, from the beginning, colonize Zimbabwe and bring in non-indigenous populations and grant them the right to own farms and agricultural lands?
At that time, Britain was highly aggressive and had an army searching for wealth in developing countries like ours. Zimbabwe was not the only country subjected to colonization by the British. Many countries were under their colonial rule. There were intense conflicts between the two sides, and there were designated areas for white people and designated areas for black people, even though originally the entire country belonged to the black population.
This planet remains an endless source of magic and scientific discovery. By continuing to explore and understand the nature of its people, we not only uncover the secrets of our planet's past, but also gain sight into the future of life on Earth. Join us next time as we embark on another exciting exploration of our magnificent planet.